G'day, it's Pete here, and welcome to week 2, day 2, where we're going to talk about continuations to Keycard. So today, all I'm going to talk about is a recap of what we did yesterday, what the Keycard responses are, and how the Queen Ask works. Also, we'll do talk about specific King Asks, a Grand Slam try, how we can check out about that. And also the tricky question of how do we actually respond with a void, and when should we actually show our void. Anyway, let's get into it. So, it's gone 1 heart, pass, 3 hearts, pass. Let's assume we did some Q bidding because we love Q bidding. Don't forget that. Now, what are our basic responses to Keycard? So, first of all, 5 clubs is 1 or 4. 5 diamonds is 0 or 3. 5 hearts says we've got 2 without the Queen, and 5 spades says 2 with the Queen. So we're showing if we've got the Queen or not with the 5 hearts and spades response, whereas 5 clubs and 5 diamonds don't mention the Queen at all. If you do respond 5 clubs or 5 diamonds, if your partner wants to find out about the Queen of Trumps, how they do that is they bid the next step up. So here it's 5 clubs. The next step up, 5 diamonds, says, partner, do you have the Queen of Trumps? And the way we show it is we return to the trump suit at the lowest level if we don't have it. If we do have the Queen of Trumps, what we do is we just bid where we've got our specific king. So 5 spades says, yes, I have the Queen of Hearts, and I have the King of Spades. If we've got the King of Diamonds instead, let's say, we bid where we have our king. So this says, yes, I have the Queen of Hearts, and I also have the King of Diamonds. If we have no kings, we can either bid 5 no trumps, or we can just jump to slam. Both of those are acceptable. So that's what we talked about yesterday. Another thing that comes up is specific King Asks. So sometimes we're interested in Grand Slam. We have all the key cards, and we think maybe we can make Grand Slam. So only if we have all the key cards would we check about partners' kings. And this is a 5 no trump continuation after a 4 no trump bid. And it says, partner, tell me about your kings. Now, what I like the responses to be is very similar to the Queen Ask, where we show where we have a specific king. So 6 clubs says, yes, I have the King of Clubs. 6 diamonds says, I have the King of Diamonds. And going back to the trump suit says, I don't have a king, or I don't have a king I can show you, because you might not want to go to 6 spades to show you you've got the King of Spades because it's past the trump suit. Whereas if spades was our trump suit, we've got all the room to show where our kings are. So a 5 no trump bid is a specific King Ask. It says, partner, tell me where you have your kings. It also says that we've got all the key cards. So if you know you've got all the key cards and responder's got the world's best hand ever, they can just sort of bid 7. So that's another possible option here. So 5 no trumps after a key card response says, partner, we have all the key cards. Tell me what specific kings you have. Do you have, and the responder will just show where they have a king. So 6 clubs says I got the King of Clubs, 6 diamonds says I got the King of Diamonds, and so forth. I find this much more useful because bidding Grand Slam, you sometimes want the king in this particular suit or that particular suit. Whereas if you don't know where it is, you might not be able to count 13 tricks. So finding out about specific kings is really useful. Now, it's important to discuss with your partner that they do the same responses to 5 no trumps, because there are quite a lot of these. Some people do all kinds of different things. So you just want to check that you and your partner are on the same wavelength for the responses to the 5 no trump specific King Ask, and also for the Queen Ask, because there are other responses to the Queen Ask as well. So it's important to check with your partner that you're on the same wavelength with them. Okay, so that's how specific King Ask works. Pretty easy to understand. If you've got all the key cards and you're interested in Grand Slam, you can bid 5 no trumps and partner just shows you where their king is if they have one. If they've got 2, they just bid the cheaper one. Okay, what about if partner bids key card and you actually have a void? So let's say North had a void somewhere. What can they do now? Okay, so take this with a grain of salt. So you don't always show your void, but if you are determined to show your void, there is actually a way you can do this. Now, 5 no trumps says, partner, I have an even amount of key cards, so 2 or 4, and I have a void somewhere. Okay, I have a void in one of the suits. Now, partner will usually have a fair idea. There'll be competitive bidding, or maybe you've splintered, or who knows what. Usually your partner will have a fair idea about where your void is. Sometimes they'll have no idea, but that's okay. 5 no trumps says, partner, I have an even amount of key cards and a void somewhere. Whereas if you have an odd amount of key cards, what you can do is just bid where your void is. So 6 clubs says, yes, I have a void in clubs and an odd amount of key cards. And if you bid 6 diamonds, I have a void in diamonds and an odd amount of key cards. If you bid 6 hearts, this says I have a void spade. Notice that you don't want to jump to 6 spades, and there's no reason to jump to 4 hearts here, except if you've got a void spade. So it says I've got an odd amount of key cards and a void spade. Now, when should you show your void? So it depends on how many key cards you have. If you have any doubt, don't show your void. Usually go the low road and just show how many key cards you have. Showing your void is a luxury, and you only do this if you've actually got a really good hand for partner. And typically, so if you've got an odd amount of key cards, you'll basically have 3. With 1 key card, you almost never do it, unless basically 1 key card is the maximum number of key cards you can have, and then you can show your void anyway. So only if you have an exceptional hand for slam anyway, do you show your void. So 5 no trumps, I have an even amount of key cards with a void somewhere, and if you jump to the 6th level in a new suit or something, it'll show an odd amount of key cards with a void in the suit you bid, or if you bid like this, it shows a void in the suit above. Now, if you don't have the room to show your void, or your hand's not fantastic, just don't show your void. It's really a luxury. It's an absolute luxury to show your void. Usually, 95% of the time, I just respond with my key cards and tell my partner how many key cards I have. I don't show my void the vast majority of times. Only with a really good hand, where you know that whatever partner is looking for, you have it, do I show my void? And that's where you can use those responses, where 5 no trumps shows an even amount of key cards with a void, and the 6th level shows an odd amount with a void in the suit you bid, except if you jump in trumps. So that's what I was going to cover today. We did a recap of Keycard and the Queen Ask. So we're playing 1430. So 1 or 4, 3 or 0, 2 without the Queen, 2 with the Queen. We talked about the Queen Ask, which is the next step up, assuming it's not the trump suit. So this would say, partner, do you have the Queen of Trumps? And they go back to the trump suit to say no. Otherwise, they show where their specific king is. Exactly the same way as after a 5 no trump bid, they show where you also have kings, because this is really useful for Grand Slam. This Queen Ask might just be for Slam, but it might also be for Grand Slam, and that's why showing your specific kings is really useful. We talked about the specific King Ask, where you are showing, we have all the key cards and the Queen of Trumps. I am interested in Grand Slam. If you're off 1 key card, you would not be bidding this. So this says, partner, we have all the key cards. I'm interested in Grand Slam. Where do you want to go? Now, partner, first of all, just responds specific kings if they can. If they don't have the room, they just go back to 6 hearts. This either says, no, I don't have any kings. You might have the King of Spades because you're a bit stuck for room. But if you have the World's Fair, you have the best possible hand ever, you can just jump to 7 because you know your hand will be good enough. We also talked about responding with a void. This is a rarity. Only do it if you have an amazing hand. But 5 no trump, direct response to 4 no trump says I have an even amount of key cards with a void. And 6 says I have an odd amount of key cards with a void. And this is where my void is. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this key card continued lesson. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.